Shiva Kittusamy, and I'm an instructor here at UNR Extension Small Business Education Program. Today, unfortunately, my camera is just not working, but nevertheless, we're going to be delivering some great content today for you. Before we get started, I'd just like to give a couple, a little bit of background on our program and what we do before we get into it. So, first up, UNR Extension Small Business Education Program. Basically, we're here to give free education to small business and startup founders. So we do this in two main ways, both in person as well as through online videos, like the one you're watching this right now. We focus on 5 main categories. That's finance, operations, marketing, management, and startup-specific content. Now, with the virtual classroom is what we call these videos. This can be found on our website, which you can just go onto Google and just type in UNR Extension Small Business Education Program. It'll be the first link right there on Google. You can actually go and delve deep into many different classes as well as many different resources for that class. So there might be short film vids that are based off of that long form video piece of content. Also on that website, on our website, is links to our in-person classes. Now, our in-person classes are going to be here in Southern Nevada, so in Vegas. So if you're in the Valley, great. I highly recommend you come check us out as we have classes going on each week. And we tend to average around 30 per month. So there's a lot of choices for you to pick and choose, but we highly recommend you hit reserve just so we know you're going to be coming. I always recommend the in-person experience just because it is a little bit more intimate. You're able to ask your questions and get the answers right then and there. You also might have someone in the class that might ask a really good question that you might have not thought about, and it could be beneficial for you in the long run. So definitely check out our in-person classes as well. And last thing we always do love plugging is our podcast. It's called the Biz Life Podcast, which you can check on our website. But if you don't have a chance to check out our website, we are on Spotify as well as Apple Podcasts. So definitely check us out. With that being said, let's get right into today's class, which is on leveraging FinTech tools for small business and startup success. Or as I pose the question, how can FinTech help scale your business or my business, right? So let's get started. First up, in order to learn this specific question, we got to find an introduction to FinTech. So first question is, what is this fancy or weird word that you're saying? FinTech. Well, FinTech is technology-driven financial services and tools. And this covers everything from payment processing to maybe bookkeeping, financial, maybe even payroll and HR management as well. These are all in the category of FinTech. Okay. So, why is it crucial for your business, you might ask? Well, it's going to improve efficiency and accuracy. We all know when you are running a business, you want to make sure that those things are high up in priority. But you also want to offer innovative solutions for growth. As more and more people are using their smartphones to pay for things, you don't want to be left behind. You don't want to just be accepting credit cards through a machine. You want to be able to use Apple Pay, Google Pay, whatever. And you might want to look at adding certain terminals or payment processors to help accept those forms of transactions. And we're going to go more into some of those solutions as well. So don't feel like you're just being let loose, if you will, with that concept of offering innovative solutions for growth. All right. So that being said, today's agenda, we're going to be going over first a brief history of FinTech. Then we're going to be going into FinTech categories and tools. And then we're going to be doing benefits and implementation strategies, as well as case studies and future trends. All right. So first up, a brief history of FinTech. All right. So FinTech might be considered as stuff in the smartphone age, but it just goes way back. All right. So we got to go to 1838 when the electric telegraph was introduced for the first time. This is basically the start of us being able to accept transactions or communication, if you will, because transactions are essentially communicating bank to bank, right? And this is one concept of FinTech. Then in 1950, the Diners Club released the first universal credit card. So we're seeing an evolution from this to 1982, with the world was introduced to Trade Plus, the online brokerage platform. In 2009, first version of Bitcoin was released, as we know. In 2013, Google Pay was first launched, followed by Apple Pay in 2014. I forgot to put Google Pay right here, but that's Google Pay. So as you can see, we can see an evolution from our traditional financial services to more tech-driven solutions. And we can see the growth of FinTech startups in the last decade. Current trends right now that we might see are things like mobile payments, AI-driven tools, blockchain, and more. And some of the market impact that we're going to see is democratizing access to financial services, leveling the playing field for small businesses and startups. So anyone can do this. And we can see this already with Apple introducing the ability for you not even just needing a dongle anymore, but if you use Square or even Stripe to accept your payments, you can actually just use your iPhone to accept any card or Apple Pay or Google Pay payments. And you can actually see this being done live when you go to an Apple store. Apple store, you don't have to. They barely use the terminals on the back of their little iPhones. It's all just done right there on that phone. So it's really going to be we're going to start seeing this trend of more democratization of financial services and FinTech, basically leveling the playing field, like I said, for small businesses and startups. Okay. So we got four main categories of FinTech tools that we're going to be covering more in depth. First one is payment processing. Second is accounting and bookkeeping. Third is lending and credit. Fourth is budgeting and financial planning. And fifth is payroll and HR management. Okay. So some benefits of implementing FinTech tools. So we got four main ones, but we're going to go a little bit more in depth. So efficiency, we can see this as automating routine tasks, and this ultimately will reduce manual processes and errors, which goes into the second benefit, which is accuracy. So we're being able to get real-time data and reporting, which will ultimately minimize financial discrepancies, which you want when you are reporting specific financial documents for your taxes, or if you're trying to go public. Being able to file those right paperwork is going to be key, in terms of accuracy. So FinTech tools can help with that. Another benefit that we see is cost savings. So this is going to lower operational costs through automation. So FinTech tools aren't just for accepting, obviously, payment processing and whatnot. That's one component. But another category could be HR and payroll. Instead of paying for a whole HR team, you could potentially just use an HR platform, which is a FinTech tool. And that could save you hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars of operational costs. Fourth is scalability. And with FinTech tools, since they are software as a service, we see scalability being able to easily adapt to business growth. So when your business grows, the tool also grows. So this is going to support expansion without extensive overhead costs. Okay. The last benefit is data-driven decisions. Probably my personal favorite. being able to access real-time data and analytics is really just going to be beneficial for you to make informed decision-making capabilities. Okay, so we're going to go into the categories now, and we're going to talk about payment processing tools first. This is what you usually think of when you hear FinTech, and there's three main tools out there that are pretty well known: Square, Stripe, and PayPal. Personally, I've had experience using Stripe and PayPal for different currencies. Stripe is a lot better of an implementation. It's a lot easier to implement Stripe when it comes to online stores, or maybe you have an app that's trying to get payments. Stripe is the way to go. Many of your big app platforms like DoorDash, Uber, etc., they use Stripe to process all their payments. It's just so easy to implement, and that's why it's the go-to tool in this space. Square's really, really handy because they have, obviously, you probably have seen a lot of their payment terminals. So that's going to be a really cool thing if you need to accept payments right there in your store or your restaurant. PayPal's a little bit more niched of a use case. Personally, I use this to send money. If I owe someone something, like if I'm working with a partner, I might send it over PayPal. Again, I would highly recommend doing some research on all these guys and figuring out how you can use one of these tools for your own business. So really quickly, these are the tools. Some of the benefits with these tools is fast and secure payment processing. Again, like I said, Stripe is easy implementation when it comes to development of an app or a website. And I would highly recommend one last thing too. Out of these two other payment processing tools, with Stripe, a lot of times you can find specific deals for if you are a startup and you're trying to accept payment processing. If you need that in your platform, there's often deals going on where Stripe actually will give free or up to a certain amount free processing. So they won't charge their processing fee until you hit $700, for example. And that's free money right there. That's 100% cash flow for you. You don't have to worry about that cost, if you will. Personally, I used that benefit with my own personal startup called Ace Delivery. It was a coffee tea delivery service primarily aimed for college students, college campuses, and we used Stripe, and it was super easy to integrate. Okay, so I think we covered payment processing tools really, really well. This is probably, again, the most common when it comes to when you think of FinTech. Okay, next is accounting and bookkeeping tools. There's three main ones: QuickBooks, Xero, and FreshBooks. A lot of people mainly use QuickBooks. That's what's known out there. But some of the benefits we see in accounting and bookkeeping tools is automated bookkeeping and invoicing, as well as real-time tracking of financial performance. Personally, with my own startup that I had, Ace Delivery, again, we were recommended to use QuickBooks. Personally, I haven't used any of these tools. I never had the chance to. However, I did do some research when I was, approached to use QuickBooks for my company from my tax professional, as it automates a lot of the stuff. So you can scan receipts, you can link it to your bank account, your business bank account, and actually record all of those different transactions or expenses, and it can intelligently put those things into the different financial statements you might need to use for reporting. So highly recommend, again, doing your research, figuring out which one works for you, but usually people go with QuickBooks because of just how wide mainstream it is. But again, look at costs, do your research. Next is lending platforms. This is kind of a newer category that recently has arisen. And there's two main players in this space right now in regards to just notoriety. First is SoFi. Oftentimes, if you need lending for yourself, like in regards to the business, you can go through these two platforms. SoFi is probably pretty known for this. Stripe just entered this space, and you'll probably start to realize Stripe does a lot of different things out there. There's a lot of cool tools for you as a startup or small business to use. But in this space, SoFi was one of the OGs when it came to lending. You might also look at lending if you are providing loans to customers for your platform. This might be an avenue you might want to go through. With lending platforms, some of the benefits you see is quick access to capital with flexible terms, and ultimately you're going to see a simplified application and approval process. So, highly recommend you check these two platforms out, and again, do more research onto these lending platforms, as there's probably a lot more out there. Cool. Next up is budgeting and financial planning tools. We're going to start seeing repeats of names, but first up is QuickBooks, and the other one is FreshBooks. Some of the benefits of budgeting and financial planning is, again, tied back to that accounting category, which is automated bookkeeping and invoicing. And this ultimately gives you real-time tracking of financial performance, which, when it comes to financial planning, you ultimately have financial goals. So being able to track your progress, or maybe lack thereof progress, is going to be really, really key for you being successful with your business and goals, right? So I highly recommend, these are two great tools. I would do some research. And in my personal opinion, I would even recommend something as simple as Excel, something that's basically free. Being able to get templates out there online could even be key to help with that. Personally, I would recommend just asking ChatGPT for what those templates look like, and just going out there and finding free templates. I personally used Excel for a lot of my financial planning, projections, budgeting, et cetera, et cetera. I never used QuickBooks. I never used any of these tools. Personally, when you're a startup and you don't have any funding, you're trying to bootstrap whatever you can. So, again, Excel is also a great option for this category too. Lastly is payroll and HR management. There's three main contenders in this. I would highly recommend doing your own research, going more in depth with these and other players, but some of the three providers I have seen and have also done research on is iSolved, Gusto, and Paylocity. And again, these platforms are really meant to help save on costs, operational costs, and to make you be able to see things a lot more clear and in a more user-friendly way. Whereas when you oftentimes go with your own payroll team and HR team, it can get, certain things can get lost in the weed, and it might just be too costly too. So going with payroll and HR management tools like Paylocity, Gusto, or iSolve could be really helpful when starting out, right? So now that we've talked about the different tools, now we got to learn how to integrate FinTech tools into your business. So I asked the question, how do I integrate FinTech tools into my business? Well, here are some of the steps for implementation. First, I want you to assess all your business needs and priorities. I think this is I put this number one just because you might not need FinTech tools. You might not, for whatever business you're doing, you might not, you might be able to afford an HR team. Maybe you are an HR manager. Maybe you don't need that. So assess your business needs and priorities and see if FinTech tools can be in that realm of assisting your business. Next up, I've said it repeatedly throughout these slides, but research and choose the right tools. There might be tools that I haven't listed on these slides, but for the ones that are listed, do a ton of research on them. Truly see these platforms and see what they offer, and if they're good for you, then choose them. And more importantly, I'd like you to also keep in mind your existing systems. So if you don't have any existing systems, great, integrate as much as you want. But most case scenario, you probably have some sort of existing systems, especially if you are looking to add FinTech tools to your arsenal for your business. Look at a plan for integration with existing systems. Maybe take some of those business needs and priorities, write those down, and maybe talk to an engineer or an account executive at that specific tools company, and have them create a plan for integration with your existing system. Even just check if it can support your existing systems. All right. Some best practices is to ensure data security and compliance. A lot of these tools already have that built in, but some of them might not. So make sure to do your research and choose the right tools if that is a big priority, which I believe it should be. And ultimately, you want to make sure you train the staff to effectively use the tools. I would say you're not going to be setting yourself up for success and your team up for success if you don't train them how to effectively use the tools. Personally, I'd make it a game. I would actually recommend your staff to actually go in and explore the whole tool. Give them the basis. Circle, if you will, of just main things that you need to just be operational. But encourage them to explore and find little hidden gems in the tool that you might not consider, and seeing how you can implement those things. These are two best practices I would recommend. Some challenges and solutions. Make sure you address some common barriers like resistance to change. As again, your team might not want to take one of these newer tools into place. And again, make sure you have some strategies for smooth implementation. If you follow some of these steps for implementation and best practices, you're going to be solid. It's going to be a cakewalk. Cool. I like to leave everyone with this quote from Bill Gates, which is, "The advance of technology is based on making it fit in so you don't really even notice it. It's part of everyday life." And I chose this because, like I said before, if you don't need FinTech tools, don't have it. If you don't need it, don't have it. But if you can admire its potential benefit, or if you can see that potential benefit, I'd say it's worth a try, because you don't know how much you could be saving on cost, expenses, and even just trimming some of the fat so you can keep growth as a big priority. So with that being said, thank you so much for coming to today's class here on YouTube. If you have any questions, feel free to comment that down below, as we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible with an answer. But like I said, if you are in Vegas, I highly recommend you come to these classes, as there's going to be a lot more participation from the classmates as well as yourself. So with that being said, thank you again for coming to this class. I highly recommend you check out some of those